Several reports within the past week suggesting President Biden could announce his re-election campaign as soon as Tuesday. And that date, April 25th, is significant. It marks 4 years exactly since Biden launched his successful 2020 run for the White House. Here with us once more, White House columnist with our partner, The Hill, Niall Stanage. Niall, thanks for being here.
Good to be here, Natasha.
And notably, Niall, today we are seeing those reports claiming the president is preparing to bring on Julie Chavez Rodriguez, a senior White House official, longtime Democratic activist, as his re-election campaign manager. Is this the strongest indication yet that the announcement is imminent?
I think so. I think when you get to that level of staffing, you're not going to be hanging around for very much longer. Now, I think that any doubt that the president was going to run again diminished greatly as far back as November, when Democrats did better than expected in the midterm elections. For some time, we've just been waiting for the president to make it official. It seems likely that could come within the next 48 hours.
Are Democrats worried, or should they be, about the level of enthusiasm that Biden re-election campaign would be able to muster?
They are worried about it, and they should be worried about it, I think. There was a poll recently that suggested that almost 1 in 4 Democratic voters had doubts or qualms about the president running for a second term. And I think that speaks to that point about enthusiasm. The same poll, if you drill down to really important voting groups like young voters and black voters, you saw the same lack of enthusiasm. So can that be overcome? Perhaps it can. Perhaps it can be helped if he gets a very divisive Republican opponent in the general election. But it is a problem.
So if Biden runs again and captures the nomination with ease, as would be expected, how much does it matter who his GOP opponent is in the general election? And at this point, is he more easily able to go up against Mr. Trump or DeSantis?
At this point, it looks like Biden's chances would be better against Trump than almost anyone else on the Republican side. Now, of course, this is complicated because Mr. Trump is very popular with Republican voters. But once you shift the polling into a general election framework, Trump does worse. There are a lot of people who just dislike him very intensely. So, for example, one very recent poll tested Biden against Trump, Biden against DeSantis. Trump lost by 3 points, DeSantis won by 3 points. I think that shows the kind of importance that of the identity of the Republican opponent.
Very interesting. Niall Stanage, thank you so much for your time. As always, have a great evening.
Same to you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.